Oh, my hair looks atrocious. Give everybody a minute to pop in. Boy, I got some hair going on. I stayed up way too late watching weird things in LA happen. Lay down, Luna. You need drinks? You need a drink. We're going to give people a moment to come in. I did a really quick live and stopped the live and made dinner. And y'all, since I made dinner, I have not felt well. I don't know if I've got a tummy bug or I'm sitting here today feeling it out before I go visit and stay with Mom because I don't want to drag anything in on them. So I'm sitting here crocheting today. And I stayed up way too late watching LA stuff last night. And, you glean a lot of knowledge from just watching things. When I had a horse to train that I couldn't understand, lots of times I would just spend a lot of time sitting back behind the fence, watching it interact with other horses and seeing where it put itself naturally, how it behaved naturally, and how it responded to stimuli from the other horses. And that's kind of how I learned how to deal with that horse. How serendipitous. I answered immediately. I just started it talking about it. So I've been watching these LA riots. They're riots, y'all. They're not protests. I've been watching those, and I stayed up way too late watching it last night, and my stomach's not been quite right. So I'm gonna let my stomach see if I should be around Mom or Dad before I go down there because I don't want to make them sick. Luna's snoring. She lays down and immediately snores. I think she snores like a pig, and then she starts snoring is what happens with her. Bless her little heart. And I've listened to a lot of things about historical issues like this and actions taken within society. And I'm of the mindset that we're going through what they call a color revolution. And basically it's created by the little shadow government within the government, the rogue people that don't want to comply and want to create their own agenda. And if you saw our government change, a lot of this was brought in with the Bushes, but it took a big change when Obama said, "Oh, sure, we can start having some SOPs done on our own civilians. Sure, go ahead and use all that on our own civilians. Go right ahead. Thank you." Yeah, it was definitely coordinated. One thing that ticked me off is when they passed out those big masks. Those are like Ion something other masks. They're like $60. The only place that sells them here on this side of the pond is Walmart. Who's mad at Trump over all the tariff crap? Who did Trump tell, "Oh, you could absorb the tariffs and still make a ton of money"? Shut up. He told that to Walmart, which was true. They could still make a ton of money even if they absorb the tariffs. But that's the only place that has those locally over here. And so you can't tell me that people are just going and buying these at, $60. They're being paid for and bought in bulk and handed out. And Walmart knows this. They know they're not being used for positive things. It wouldn't surprise me if Walmart was not just, had a bulk deal with somebody named Soros to hand them out to people. I'm just going to tell you something that Jens probably won't believe, but normal everyday people that work and pay bills, they do not have the time, wherewithal, or desire to sit around to figure out how to attack the popo and take away or take apart a community. They just don't. They're busy. They're busy raising kids. They're busy trying to feed their kids. They're busy trying to insure their families. They're busy. They got bigger fish to fry. And they think, for the most part, that our government is supposed to protect its citizens. Boy, you got one job, government. You got one job. One job. Then what they do is, what these groups do is they take the unrest in areas and they generate it, they amplify it, they make it worse. And then they start running ads on, like Craigslist where people look for hookers. Yeah. and other things. Then they start running ads on Craigslist saying, hey, we'll pay you $6,500 a week if you're a big bad man and you go wherever we tell you when we tell you to go. There's a lot of people that can't work legally here now, right? They need money. It's almost like they're here on design to fill these voids and all of these, help wanted ads in Craigslist. It's almost like they just sent their own little workforce, aka bouncer club army, if you will, to be very cheaply bought and paid for and used. What do they have to do? Just the things that they were good at, that they learned all about when, grew up in these horrible third world countries. Just those things that they know all about it. They're real good at it. They grew up in it. Basically, they're paid $6,500. Make America look like wherever you came from. Sir, yes, sir. There we go. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. But what is even more pathetic are the little stupid idiots that sit in front of everybody going, don't hurt my new friends and family. They came here because they had nowhere else to go. They came here because they basically were at hire. And they were told, hey, get up yonder, get set down. You're going to be in the green here real soon. Just wait till you see an ad for you. You'll know it. They Trojan horse this thing. I've been saying this for a long time. Why was it mostly men coming? Men and children. Well, those are the two things that were going to be consumed in this event wholeheartedly, if you know what I mean. So I'm not surprised by anything I saw last night. All the cinder blocks being dropped, people knowing, hey, we bust them up and throw chunks. All the ionic masks being handed out that are, only sold at Walmart here in the States for $60 a pop. You don't think that somebody that worked 40 hours a week went and bought those, do you? No. Because they handed out hundreds. Somebody with the big, deep pockets bought those. And Walmart knew when they got bulk orders for those, oh, sure, just sell them all. Wait, we can get in the inventory. Why, Walmart? Why? When my freaking store barely has 2 of anything, would you have hundreds of these in stock, Walmart? Huh? And again, I told you what I think they do when you do an order and then they say they can't give you back your money. It takes 7 to 10 days. Maybe this is what they do with that money. They invest it. They make a bunch of money off of it. They make interest off of it. They pull that money and then they order these things that are prepped and ready for when people order them for their little piss fits. That's what I'm going to call it. I'm going to call it a piss fit. It's a piss fit. Anyway, when I watch what is supposed to be my countrymen on late night news, I see hyenas on a carcass. I don't see people at all. I don't see people at all. I see the people that have transitioned themselves into an animalistic, less than human life form that are okay to eat the scraps at the table with the other hounds and okay to have a master tell them what to do. I don't see individuals at all. It's sad, really. But it's also a necessary step in any place that's being overran. It happens in every society that is being dismantled. If you go back and look at all of them, y'all know. This is how it starts. You breed in issues that don't exist within the community. You breed in hate and emotional distress that doesn't exist within the community. And then when you get the stupid idiots that will grab on to the hate and the emotional distress and say, yes, I feel it. They're heavily suggested that they do. Then you have the people go, no, you don't. You've lived here for 30 years. You've been fine. Shut your mouth. Well, now we've got an issue. And so they propagate all of this, much like sowing seeds of doubt. And it's the weak-minded that latch onto it. It's the ones with idle time and idle thought patterns that latch onto it. And so when you look at the streets, you see the weakest minds of our nation. They're not trying to do anything except stroke their own ego, make a mess, be heard, be loud, and think that they're doing something that's going to make them special. It's not, because, the specialness runs out. The max special that you can be is $6,500 a week, and that's for the big burly men. Your little soy boys, what do you get? $350 a week. If you can put a price tag on you, you're probably not that special. So we've got people being bought and paid for. It's really a sad, sad thing. I never saw the LAPD arrest anyone last night. I saw them with their little kitty gloves on and say, please don't push me. Please don't strike me. Please back up. It's kind of stupid. Now the news is saying he's sending the Marines. Trump is sending the Marines. Well, yes, he is. But you fail to say what for and in what capacity. He's sending the Marines to protect ICE from, doing their federal job because they're being attacked. That is completely within the law. Most citizens like me would be like, listen, hey, probably wouldn't be mad at a couple of days of martial law just to clear up some issues. Probably wouldn't. I don't think Trump is going to be as big of a pushover this time, but it's yet to be seen. Men will tolerate a lot when they think money and charisma and ego are on the balance. So here's what we learned. What they said was an organic riot also sprung up in Austin and a few other places last night, which means it's not organic, it's planned. You can now find the ads on Craigslist for many more organic riots that are going to occur. They're setting us up for another summer of love. I think I said this last year, we're going to have another summer of love. Yeah. Stupid idiots. Yeah, I don't know why the idiots cause the most trouble. You think smart people would figure out a way. We just always undersell their capabilities. And we also undersell their worth to people with money. Because if you got money, you can make a stupid idiot do almost anything. Just point blank truth. So now that they've got this endless supply of young to middle-aged men that come from a place where they have no qualms about behavior, all they got to do is drop a little bit of that money that they don't really need and create havoc. And while everybody's busy trying to deal with the havoc, they slip a few more people into positions of authority, and bada bing, bada boom, we've lost our government. It really is that simple. It's really that simple. Everybody makes it, complex, but it's really that simple. We've lost a lot of it already. People can be bought and paid for in so many ways. So many ways. But when you see somebody that's separate from the world, you notice them immediately, right? It's like when you see somebody out there throwing crap at night and putting things on fire, you're like, oh yeah, I've seen those people. But you also know that you've seen the good people. You see people that are home taking care of their families, working hard, don't have the time to go through 50,000 news sources to see what the rest of the world's saying. Those people too. They do too. They've got everybody profiled. They know that you're busy taking care of business and that you're just too absolutely depleted to try to fix this. So let's amp up the work week. Let's take away your vacations. Let's threaten your jobs a little bit. Let's make you force a little bit more, force you to look a little bit harder at money. And you're going to be worried about all these things rather than what's going on the TV and all that. So if you're feeling a little bit of stress, don't worry. That's by design too. Like I said, when I went into psychology and I got my master's in psychology, the first thing I realized was that this was a very powerful educational tool. And the second thing I realized was the government knew that and they used it against everybody. So imagine my dismay when I thought, well, this great thing that could be used to help everybody understand life, get their crap in order, be the best version of themselves. That's what I thought it should be used for. But no, the government uses it to trick you into doing whatever they want you to do or behave and however they want you to behave. because they have ideas about how a country should be ran. And, there's so many hundreds of millions of us that, we're just cattle to the call, and they can do whatever they want, tell us whatever they want, design our lives however they want. We're just cattle. So, how do we change this? How do we stop this? Y'all, if everybody would shut their mouths when Donald Trump was getting onto Walmart, we would have seen the bigger picture. If everybody hadn't run with the story, saying, he's going to shut Walmart down. No. It wouldn't have been such a bad thing now, would it? They wouldn't have had open stores to have, under the cloak of night, shipped these ionic gas masks to all these people that are going, it would have been a daylight. Why is a Walmart truck moving? Walmart's not even open. We would have seen it coming. Isn't that nice? We would have seen it coming. But we're all so worried about where we're going to buy our southern, very unattractive bathing suits. That we can't wait for 5 seconds and understand there might be something else to the plan here. Any mogul right now in this world that is still making money is doing so, I would most likely say, in nasty means. The Mexican president who kowtowed to help Trump is now being a giant turd and basically saying, okay, they pay when she said, when our country, Luna, you're snoring. She said that when our countrymen go live in America and they send money back, we collect a remittance fee. They get up to $60 billion a year from their countrymen who live, legally or not, in the United States and send money back to Mexico. So you understand now why she is not really concerned about all the people from Mexico in the Americas, because, hey, guess what? She gets money off that. Well, Trump said, okay, well, listen, we're going to put a taxation on this remittance fee. Now, it's going to be a pretty small amount. I think he's going to ask for like $2-3 billion out of $60 billion. Kind of what other nations ask for when this crap happens. She threw a heinous fit and said, no. And now she's up there supporting and telling people, yeah, stand up, do what you want to do, basically take them down. Oh, no, ma'am. No, ma'am. Oh, man. And for all the people trying to put little mustaches on Trump, hey, let's put one on that little woman. Because that was more like him than anything else I've seen so far. So if you ever wondered why they opened the gates, I would say that somebody got some pocket change for throwing the gates wide open, and and she's getting probably much more than $60 billion in remittance, because that has probably tenfold or more changed since the last time they scaled it. And plus, they're now getting, instead of just going and working here, they're also getting government funds. So go ahead and tell them how much that woman got back from her countrymen living abroad, being in our nation. Unwelcome. This is so much more than, these are not huddled masses asking for help. Okay, these are not. These are hyenas patrolling for carcasses. And it just so happens that they see you, your family, your neighborhood as a carcass that they can pick off of. And some of y'all might be okay with that. I certainly am not. Certainly am not. Absolutely not. And LA, something that you would think with the history of the U.S. and the visitation and the tourism, you think, well, that place is kind of important to our nation. They should probably want to stop this. No. So what's going to happen when it comes to your neck of the woods? You think they're going to care anymore? No. And as they burn fires and try to kill police officers, throwing chunks of cinder blocks at windshields from overpasses and bicycles at cops from overpasses, people sit there and say it's mostly peaceful. And, okay, Karen, put your glasses on. So this is just another, I look at it, just another lie they tell you so many times you want to believe it. Oh, this is all organic. We've got to change. No. This is called a coordinated, created, curated force upon a civilization to augment them in a way that you see beneficial to you, because it takes money and power to do these things. Okay. It also takes numbers, which they weren't getting so good with. It was just us Americans, because we were kind of like, no, son, ain't doing that. But they opened the floodgates, and guess what? They got a lot of willing participants that really had no qualms about their behavior, because, I mean, they've seen it and done it all. They don't care. They don't care. So hooray for America, that's full of basically ingrates willing to do and behave anyway, and full of blue-haired idiots that are willing to protect those ingrates, even at the cost of their own citizens. Shucks. You know, they should really write a book about this. Oh, really? They have? Even in the 60s they did. Wow. Oh yeah. Everybody trying to promote communism wrote about this. Oh, shucks. You never read like all those 50,000 books? Really? No? I mean, it sketches out line for line, just like they read it and wrote it down and replayed it here. Yeah. Did you hear the one little Mexican guy that they interviewed? He said, well, this is our land. We want it back. We want to turn it into true socialism. He goes, not the kind you see that's failed everywhere. One that will work. Sir, there's never been one to work. Well, it worked in the beginning of Russia until it didn't. Well, sir, that one didn't work then. Well, we can make it work. But this is our land. This is a hostile takeover. And all you people screaming, you know, they just want to live here. No, they don't just want to live here. They've been milking this cow for a long time. Those remittance fees to their government. That's why she likes undocumented, because if they're documented, then a lot of the money gets taken from them before it makes it to Mexico. So that's why she likes the undocumented. Oh, wait. The illegal. Let's say the right word. The illegal. She likes the illegal countrymen in here, because she gets more money. They don't have to cut a fee. Nobody's paying taxes. So heck yeah, she likes the illegal people in here that bring all their money and don't have to drop any at the gate. So, you know, when Biden was like, open the door, let them in, let me go against every law. Excuse you, Snorri McSnorrison. She was fine with it, because all she saw was dollar signs. She doesn't care about the people getting hurt. She doesn't care about the bad people that come over here. She doesn't care about the children that are being come up missing and have a lot of harm done to them. She doesn't care about any of that. She's making money. She's taking over land. She's got the whole globe up in an emotional tizzy going her way, so that they can take over this place with very little slapback. And how did it all start? By looking at a leopard and saying it was a house cat. Now, I'm one to say don't make a mountain out of a molehill, but if it's a goddamn mountain, don't call it a molehill. And for so many years, we've allowed the press and everyone else to say, oh, this could not happen, this could not occur, these people just need asylum. They don't need asylum. As we can see now, they're very, 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 very capable. Packing cinder blocks, breaking windows, stealing Adidas, chasing cops, squaring up to the National Guard. Capable human beings. So they're not the naive, huddled masses that come to America seeking a better land. No, they're the very capable ingrates that come to cause harm, breed friction in the community and society, and teach the uncouth that we house here how to be even worse. Because this is how you take down a nation. This is how you change a society. This is how you scare good people into giving up. I mean, it is basically textbook. Oh, and then we had one of our politicians say the inside words out loud that her parents were illegal. And now she is a politician here. Okay. I'm gonna go back like 20 years and remind you some things you just shouldn't say. You know, I still don't think we're at the place where we all can just glaze over that. So if you don't think we've been infiltrated, just listen to the stories coming out now. Look at the Craigslist ads. Look at what's being dropped off in bulk. Research where those things are being purchased from locally. She's snoring loud. You will see who is helping to provide for these things to occur, who is unabashedly promoting these things, who believes the lies that they're spanning. It's really just kind of stupid. It's really just kind of stupid. And you watch these people who are supposed to be these poor people that just wanted a home, yet the first thing they do is tear down the home that everybody provided for them. Wait, that doesn't sound right. No, it doesn't, does it? Normally, if somebody's been without something that they've wanted so badly that they will cross deserts to get, they normally treat it with a little bit of respect, right? They're just so proud to finally have a place to belong. The first thing they do is not tear it apart. Hell, you give a dog a nice house, that dog will appreciate that nice house. So I'm thinking that, hey, stray dogs probably got a little bit more IQ points than what we're dealing with here. Just saying what I'm noting in the behavior. So before you sit there and try to protect these people who don't give a crap about what this country is trying to do, has done, has allowed to occur, and is saying, hey, you know something? The last president broke too many of our rules. Y'all gonna have to go home and try to do this legally. What? They're now gonna tear up our whole streets? Wait, you don't want it here to come back to? Oh, that wasn't the idea ever, was it? Well, shucks on us. Shucks on us. How did you get all your middle-aged men that are fighting fit to come across the border? Oh, you just brought little kids to hand over to the last administration as a, little cream on top. Guess that's why we can't find so many of them. Makes sense, doesn't it? It makes sense. So, I figured YouTube probably shut me up by now, but hey, go watch these things. Go watch, and y'all watch. I would go from like watching just people watching the riots and being absolutely like, holy crap. Then you'd switch over to like CBS News monitoring, and they'd be like, it's mostly peaceful here. Okay, put them in a tornado just come through Kentucky. It's a little windy here. I don't know how to tell the most of you you're being lied to, other than you might want to pay more attention. You might might want to look at things and compare and contrast a few times before you take anything that anybody says as truth. It's just a little scary. So here we've got ionic gas masks that, Walmart should maybe have 4 to a store, but they're providing hundreds in the local area of these riots. Well, that takes preparation and planning, Walmart. And what? You were mad at Trump because he said you could absorb the tariff fee and still not raise your prices on the regular shopper and still make money, but that wasn't enough money for you, was it? Making billions a year, that's just pittance. You got to fleece the people that go to your store. So somehow y'all just stocked up on hundreds and hundreds of those ionic masks so that somebody could grab them and hand them out. Wow, I wanted a specific wax warmer smell one day. They had only bought 1 box. They didn't have any more. And I said, well, can you get it from other stores? Well, we normally only get a box per store because we have so much people, only picking around and buying. We just think, well, we'd rather give you an opportunity to buy different smells than the same smell repeatedly. I said, so the other stores only have maybe 1 box if minus what's been sold. Yeah. But you have hundreds of ionic gas masks. I mean, you keep around what you think you're going to need. Who in the world would have thought that Walmart would need that? I guess Sam Walton's granddaughter did. She's a flighty little thing, ain't she? Yeah. I don't think we get along too well. So the next time you ask, how can this occur? It doesn't just occur. None of this that you're seeing is organic. It is all created. It is all curated. It is all heavily manicured to affect specific groups of people to then further the emotional agenda to create a society which is not conducive to our nation, so that people give up, roll over, and just say, just make them stop. Just make them stop. We can't take anymore. Just make them stop. I, for one, am not ever going to say that. I think Trump should look at what's going on, and it's time to take the gloves off. We've played patty cake with these before. We all know now the summer of love over that dopehead that died was a big farce. Caught like I see it, y'all. We all know how much they lied to us and paraded a dead body around to manipulate the weak-minded. We all know what our government's capable of. So, no, I don't want to go through this again. And I'm perfectly okay with going through a little bit of heck if I see this stop. So everybody that's upset about the Marines coming in right now, do know that they are there to protect the federal employees doing their job. They are not to be used on the public, only the people that attack the federal officers doing their job. But many Americans, like myself, I would be completely okay with loosing, a whole bunch of Marines on that area and just saying, clean the house. Why? Because for how many decades have we sat around and watched this area continue to be the area that condones and then lies for, makes excuses for, houses, and then protects people that are doing harm to our nation? Maybe it's time to reevaluate why most of California needs poop squads and steam cleaners for sidewalks. Maybe, somebody like me could shed some light and say, well, if you actually house people that loved your area and were competent, you wouldn't have to have those things. Maybe you should look at the quality of people you have living there and the rules that you don't enforce. Perhaps that's the issue. Could be. So I watched these last night going, we can't do this again. And then one popped up in Austin, and I'm like, we can't do this again. We're not going to allow all this to, take over our nation again. But sure enough, here they go. And nobody wants to say anything. It's just a bad dream. It'll all be over. It's not a bad dream, y'all. They're going to be twice as hateful this time. They're going to hit these cities twice as hard. They're going to provoke more heinous crimes this time, because it didn't quite work last time. It really screwed America up, but it didn't quite work last time, did it? So balls to the wall this time, y'all. Hang on. It's going to get bad. Why? Because they don't care about our nation. They don't care about the people in the nation. They don't care about a rule of law. They care about money. They're not making it anymore. Control. The people they do control are completely expendable to them, so send them into nations and cause wars. And they'll pay you a little piddly amount of money if you act like a giant idiot. Or a feral idiot. And try to screw up a city and a nation. What's the end game? Power. Okay, but hey, Mr. Bigwig, by the time you get into power, all that's going to be left are the completely clueless, one brain cell idiots that couldn't answer your ads, and then the people that really didn't want to. What are you going to do then? Oh, I imagine we'll have to go. Are we going to get there, people? Are we going to get there? I mean, I can't tell you how to think about this, but I'm just looking at this and talking about a storyline that seems legit for what they're going for. I mean, this is tried and true, and now they're elevating the score. If this was a poker game, there'd be a whole lot on the line. And the people that, won't obey laws, as soon as the president will respond, well, then they're all about laws. He can't do that. That's illegal. Well, listen, you've not cared about laws for how long? So shut your mouth, stand aside. It's getting frustrating because I live in one of the areas that's, hyper conservative. We're all sitting here going, what the heck is this place turning into? Why can't we change this? Nobody stands up, nobody says anything. And even me here in Appalachia, I can be a stick in the mud. People can say, well, we don't really like you. Well, that's great. That's great. But 99% of the people live here, think and act like me. And that's why when you move here, you don't necessarily like the place because it doesn't meet your momentum. It meets the momentum of the people that are the bulk. Stop trying to change America. Stop trying to change America. Stop using these tactics to change America. Stop trying to use these psyops. Stop trying to use these sound machines. Stop trying to use these frequencies to make us all not sleep. Stop trying to use these frequencies to make us all sick. Just stop and let humanity be humanity. If we screw up, let us screw up completely on our own. It would be such a fresh feeling to see humanity just completely F it up all on their own. I'd almost enjoy it. Look, that right there was an organic screw up. I'm so happy to see an organic screw up. Oh my God. I would so be happy to see an organic screw up right now. But all we've seen are just the mass exodus of idiots and basically zombie humans to be paid to be further ingrates because they don't know what life is, they don't know what community is, they don't know what love is, and yet we're willing to protect people that don't understand those things and cannot create those things because we think it's the kind thing to do. The kind thing to do, can't say it on YouTube. But you are what you consume. So keep bringing in people that don't believe in laws, that don't understand how a society should operate, that don't believe in any kind of kindness. And you're going to start to look like them soon. I'm amazed at how much LA already looks like some of the villages in Mexico already. I picked up on that immediately last night. I was like, wow, that really already looks like some streets in Mexico. People behave like people in Mexico when they get mad. They go completely ape. There is no decorum. There is no conversation. But everybody wants pity. Well, pity for the guilty is harm to the innocent. Think about that. Because the more you pity the guilty, the more times they're going to do it. And that's the more times that the innocent people that just live and work have to part with tax money to house these people, part with tax money to try to send these people to rehab, we pay for everything. Stop giving people so many chances. We pay for everything. And listen, I have a huge heart of compassion. And I understand that, it takes sometimes 7 to 10 times to reach somebody to make them think that they're worthy. But y'all, at some point, we have to say, this ain't working. And taxpayers can't continue to pay for this. Not when it's being generated inorganically by con jobs in governments. So, we got to talk about this stuff. We've got to tell them, hey, we see what you're doing. We see you're making money. You don't want to lose that. But we also see that you've used us as a giant piggy bank for your remittance. You don't want to be taxed on it. So now you're okay with the United States being pulled down to your level of living. Oh, God. Because your piggy bank's not going to be as full as it used to be. No thought going into the, millions and millions of other people that should matter but don't to these people. So I'm not okay being a number that doesn't matter to someone else. I think I matter. I think that other quiet, calm people that pay their bills and live their life and try to be decent folk, I think they matter a lot. I think we're the backbone of a society. But if we keep letting them fleece our groups of people until it's just the backbone left, there's not going to be a great revival because there's only going to be a few of us. They're not going to try to make us see their way because we've not for decades and generations. There's just going to be a mass exodus of useless people that they don't like if we just sit here silently. Don't want to talk about it. Don't want to say, hey, I don't agree with this. Hey, we see what you're doing. Hey, we've read all them books about communism too. A lot of what they do is try to scare people. But hey, listen, none of this is organic. So when you watch the LA riots tonight, if it happens again, I'm sure it will. I mean, they've got a lot of money to pay, and there's a lot of stupid people out there that have no jobs that need money, and they can make a quick buck this way just by acting like an animal, a hyena, a jackal. So when you watch them, you're looking at stuff that should take 50, 60 years to organically create. You're seeing it created in a number of 3 to 5 years max, because they're using psyops, emotional issues within the society, and amplifying it with just, some awesomely timed real happenings. They're working with billionaires. They're working with prominent officials. They're working with probably Klaus Schwab. Boy, he's the gift that keeps on giving, ain't he? He's like a zit on your ass. Not okay. This is not okay. Everybody got mad because the president put a travel ban. Y'all know that a bunch of Chinese people have been caught, arrested. Go read the news. Trying to bring in new viruses and funguses to wipe out our farmers. Oh, but they didn't mean to bring them. Oh no, they put them in Ziploc baggies, double bagged them, and hid them in their luggage. They meant to. They meant to. And yet the news poses it like a question. The news is not really the news anymore. I go to other countries, some of the poorer countries, where they ain't being bought out so much. And I watch their news. They normally get closer to the truth than anything, because nobody cares to change what they're saying, because they're so poor. They're like, oh, we'll get to them eventually, but they're really poor and they can't really fuss with us and cause us any harm. So just leave them over there, and we're going to go tangle with the U.S. right now. I read their newspapers, and they're pretty spot on. They know what's going on. They know what's going on. But look in the last couple of years what has happened in this world, and it's all been done by design. It's all been done. They went after your society, used prompts in your society, then used psyops, then used emotional control issues. And, now it's time for them to amp it up, put some stressors out there, create physical harm and physical fear of physical harm, and see what happens. And y'all, this is what, a couple, 3 times now in the last few years. It's not going to get any better. It's not going to get worse. This has become a norm for summers in America. I'm not okay with this. I'm not okay with this. I'd like for some other people to read some books on communism. I'd like for other people to read some books on Cuba. I'd like for some other people to read some books on the Soviet Union. I'd like for other people to go through all of our congressmen and women who have children working in other nations in important sectors, and maybe go and read about this Mexican president who, even though she's getting $60 billion a year in remittance of people, her countrymen working here, sending money back, she gets a portion of it. Even though she's getting that much money, she's not okay with giving up $2 billion to maintain diplomacy between the two nations, and saying, hey, listen, you can have your remittance. We're going to tax it so that we're all sure about who's got who in what nation. Luna, get up here. And from that point, we're going to monitor this to make sure how many people you have here, how much you're making. We're going to take a small percentage, and we're just going to be more open about the numbers. How dare you, countrymen in that nation? And basically she said, do what you see fit. It's a Miss El Presidente. So we got a lot of problems to deal with. Tons. We got a lot of problems to deal with. Tons. We got a lot of stupid people in power. We got a lot of rich people that are assholes in power. We got a lot of people that sit around and think about the way that they can harm people the easiest. And for you people that are like me, that are like, all this stands out because that's not how I'm made. That's not what I want to see. That's not what the good books, tells me to be. Well, then this sticks out like a sore thumb to you, right? It does. Start talking about it. Start talking about it. Start talking about it. Most of y'all flipped to the end of the Bible and read the back of the book. Start talking about it. Start talking about it. Start talking about it. I see what's coming. I'm very chill about it. Good Lord's in control. I'm very irritated about it, though. Very irritated because I know that my grandbabies will have to live through unheard of events, most likely. And so I'm sitting here, just kind of begging society, hey, pay attention. Stop looking at this with your feels. Start looking at it logically, rationally. Start taking it apart. Start looking from a power component. Who's making the most money? Who's getting the most allocated or unallocated, misallocated funds? Why did we have to spend all that money that they found was basically a farce, fraudulent spend in USAID? And guess what? Well, guess where a lot of that money went? Into the fund for a lot of this crap's happening this summer. So you just start talking about these things and start putting it out there that maybe the rest of society needs to become a little bit more educated. You need to be reading some books. You need to be studying a lot of fallen societies. You need to be maybe following the Synergy channel on the Odyssey platform. You need to be looking at everything that these powerful rich people give for free, manipulate for free, do for free, and why they're shelling out so much money to turn this into a hellfire, like end of worldscape. How does it benefit them? It would surprise y'all. So that's your homework. Yeah. Nothing that happens in this world basically anymore is organic. Marionettes. We're all puppets. Cut the strings. Think for yourself. Start talking about it. The more we talk about it, the less likely it's going to continue to happen at the pace, because we're going to start to slow it down, because when people start to notice, they start to retract a little bit. Start talking about it. Start talking about it. I'm not willing to let the United States become pocket change for Mexico. I'm not willing to let the United States society become heathens, although we have a lot already here. And I'm not willing to let us become a laughingstock across the world. So let's start talking about it. How do we fix this? We fix it by talking about it, getting it out there, and letting people know we see what's going on and we don't agree with it. It's all about education. So I've done my 10, 20 minutes today. You do your 10, 20 minutes. Do some research. Don't trust anything anybody tells you, even me. Do your own research. And then enlighten someone else as to what you're learning. But be rest assured, you're in the middle of a color revolution that has been created multiple times in the past. Go read about them. And then really ask Walmart why they just happen to have hundreds of ionic gas masks, that like each store should maybe had max 2. How they had just had hundreds to hand out. That's the only place that supplies them locally. That they had to come from Walmart. How come Walmart had hundreds on hand? Ask the hard questions, Walmart. So that's where I am today. I hope you're also scratching your noggin going, let's start putting this all together. So do your due diligence as an American citizen and go, this ain't right, and start looking into it. And I'll talk tens after I feel better. My stomach does not feel good. And it's not from where I'm upset. I truly think I finally have the tummy bug. I don't leave my house. I don't. But somehow I've caught the tummy bug going around. So toss up an amen, hallelujah for me. Maybe I'll feel better. I'm going to take little Miss Lena May out to potty and for a walk. And then we're probably going to take him out. So because I plan to be up, really? I know I told him about that too. Okay, because I plan to be up late watching the riots again tonight. Just looking for incongruent behavior and mannerisms. Just, I'm just things that just are a little askew. observation is a great thing. Y'all have a great day. I hope you don't get the tummy bug. Take care of yourself. And Luna May says, hi, bye. Oh, and she got a pretty pink collar in. She's rotten. Bye, guys. You want to push the button? You want to push the button? No? Okay. I'll push the button.